Good afternoon and welcome to AM News Network presents Summary Judgment Talk Show. I'm Rachel Baird. I'm joined by Ed Peruta. We took a break last week. Weren't sure we were going to be here this week because your surgery is upcoming. But
I will not be here next Saturday. I will be in Hartford Hospital Bone and Joint Facility.
Okay, and let's hope that's the final one for a while, huh?
Jesus.
So this week in Connecticut, the legislature passed and the governor signed off on a Police Accountability Act. We discussed it a little bit last week, Ed. Is there something you'd like to start with before we get to that? You have some video footage.
Oh, American News had a associate on scene for 2 incidents this week. Here's the first one. Attorney Baird was driving to my condo, and she attempted to get off exit 23, West Street in Rocky Hill.
Yep, 91 North.
But lo and behold, some truck driver decided to block the road and prevent her from getting off the exit. And this is why. That you had said to me that about 8 cars, there were 8 cars in front of you when this fire started.
No, I was the first one up the ramp. There was nobody ahead of me.
Except a burning truck.
Right, and the truck was burning. And I came to a standstill, although the road was not blocked, and people
was there.
behind me were stopping already too. But then there were some people, and then I heard it pop, and since I was first, I got out of my car and went to the shoulder of the road, actually the island in the middle, and that's where the truck driver was.
And unbeknownst to you, interviewed the truck driver.
Right, but as I was doing that, some people actually, about 8 cars went around the truck.
Tell everybody on the other side of the camera why you didn't think it was a good idea to pass that truck.
Well, I was worried that it would blow up.
Okay, now, back side to the story. My son-in-law, Michael Dow, is with the Rocky Hill Fire Department and happened to be at that scene between the tractor-trailer truck on fire and Rachel's car. And he told me that evening, because he was going to help us at the new office, you know, do stuff on the wall. He called me, "Hey, I can't make it." I said, "I know where you are." He says, "Why is that?" I said, "Rachel's videotaping." So when I talked to him later that night, he said that he saw you and said, "Is that Rachel? Nah, that's Rachel. Nah."
See, the vantage point from the video, you can see the state police cruiser there. You can see the hood of my car and then the trooper. But I was way ahead of that when I stopped.
The trooper let you back up.
Yeah, and he asked everybody to get in their cars, and I said, "Can I back up a little bit? I don't want to be this close to it." So that's when I took more
And
video.
how many news people asked to back away from an incident?
Right. Well,
Okay.
I don't.
Well, so Rachel had said that she was concerned that the truck or the gas or fuel or whatever could blow up. And I said to Mike, I said, "Yeah," I said, "she didn't want to go buy that truck for fear it would blow up." He said, "Go ahead." We found the alternator to the truck, 100 feet or 50 feet from the vehicle. So the truck in the engine compartment of the truck or whatever did in fact explode.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you know how it is when there's two cars coming up to a light that's kind of getting ready to turn yellow, or it has turned yellow.
Yep.
And the other car goes, and you're the one that stops, and they make it through, and you're like, I should have just gone.
I should have.
Yeah, and so when you feel kind of stupid when you stop, and then you see other 8
for
cars
the next
go.
hour and a half, you sat there, waiting for the shit to get cleared up.
Yeah,
But
no,
that's okay.
Yeah, no, the state police did a great job. What they did was the whole entrance was blocked up. So the car at the end of the entrance turned around and left, and then one by one, everybody turned around and
get into the northbound. And
Yeah.
went northbound and past it.
Yeah.
Now the other incident that our associate, our young news gatherer, was involved involved the Veterans Administration, AMR ambulance, and me. Now that's AMR, American Medical Response, rig number 920.
Why don't you give a little background on what
Okay.
benefits and services the VA offers to people who need
Okay.
rides to appointments and can't make
I-
it, in case people don't know.
I will be having my left knee replaced next Friday. And my knee has gotten so painful that it brings tears to my eyes. And it's not a pain, it's a constant pain. So the VA agreed, and whatever, that the VA would pay for an ambulance to come to my condo, come upstairs, take me out of the condo in what's known as a stair chair, put me on a gurney, take me to all of my medical appointments, and then bring me back and carry me back upstairs. Because I got to tell you, it's not easy manipulating your body with this going on. So, I had an appointment for, I believe, Monday morning at 9:40 at my primary doctor. And my primary doctor had agreed, off the cuff, great doctor. He agreed that he would stick a needle into my knee and drain the fluid that was causing the pressure and causing the pain when I got to his office. And that's with the power out. They were going to see me. And I had scheduled an ambulance to pick me up at 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock came and went. And it got to be 9:30, and I called the VA. I said, or AMR, I said, "Where's the ambulance?" "Oh, they'll be there in about a half an hour." I said, No, I ain't missing this appointment. I'm in too much pain. I'm going to my doctor. So I crawled down the stairs. I got in the car. I got to the doctor's appointment. He's got a wire coming out the second story to a generator he brought from home, so their telephones and
That's
computer work.
amazing.
They came down, they met me, and assisted me in getting up 4 flights. Every floor has 2 flights of stairs. This way, then this way.
And is he on the second or third floor?
Second.
Yeah, I just want to repeat.
4 sets of stairs.
I just want to repeat that this doctor brought a generator from his house and put it outside the office and extended the extension cord up into the second floor
Right.
to have power
Right.
in his office.
And first of all, it's difficult to find a doctor who will perform a procedure in an appointment for a pre-op physical. But my doctor has known me, been my doctor for 25, 30 years. And he knows who I am. And he knows that I don't, if I say I'm in pain, I'm in pain. So I got there, and I was pissed off at AMR. So on the way home in the car, I called AMR. I said, okay, look, you screwed up the 9 o'clock pickup. I have another one at 1 to go to the Bone and Joint Center at Hartford Hospital for my pre-operation meeting with them. And I was talking to dispatch at AMR ambulance, and Rachel came over to the condo and sat on the love seat, and Rachel was there, and who else was there? Was there somebody else there?
There were, there
Yeah,
were.
and Rachel was there to make sure that I got picked up at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
1 o'clock came, and 1 o'clock went. 1:05, 1:10, 1:15. Now, I had, my gut instinct told me, get in your goddamn car and get out of here, go to the hospital, make sure you get to this appointment or you don't get your surgery. I'm not going to give them anything. And then I said, no, you know something? I'm gonna give them some rope to hang themselves. I'm going to wait here, give them at least 15 minutes. Error. So 1:15 came, 1:15 went, and I started packing up and getting ready to crawl down the stairs, and you said, well, I'm here, they didn't show up, I'll deal with it Monday or whatever. I said, okay.
Well, just to clarify, I had assisted you in the morning, but in the afternoon there were other people there who were able to assist.
Right, but the thing was, now you didn't need to be there.
Right.
So I'm struggling is the right word, to get to my car, to get driven to the Hartford Hospital Bone and Joint Center. And as I'm coming down the stairs to my condo, okay, the crookedness has got her going crazy. So, as I'm coming down the stairs, I get a phone call from Rachel. And she says, Ed, there's an ambulance sitting right here on the Silestein Highway in Rocky Hill, probably half a mile from my house.
About half a mile.
Half a mile from my house. I said, what are they doing? He says, well, they're at Scoops and Sprinkle Ice Cream Shop. Really? Now, Rachel could have, her son was riding passenger, saw the ambulances, told Rachel, Rachel was driving by, and all of a sudden Rachel had the best thought in the world. I'm going to turn around and investigate this. So she turns around and she takes photographs, and she has on the picture, the rig is rig 920. It's by the front door. 920. So she tells me, I see the picture, I call up AMR to the dispatch center. Because in the morning when I said, can you assure me please that there's going to be an ambulance here to get me to Hartford Bone and Joint? We'll give it our best. We'll do our best. But you have to understand, Mr. Peruta, that 911 calls take priority, and that if we're running 911, we can't do routine calls. I said, yeah. I understand public safety. Been involved with it for 40 years. I understand. So I call up the lady at AMR, and I said, yeah, this is Ed Peruta. Can you tell me where the ambulance is that's supposed to pick me up? And she says, well, I don't know. She says, but they're on the way to get you. And I said, really? I said, so you don't know where they are? No. I said, what was the number of their rig? And she goes, 920. I said, so 920? She says, yeah, that's the rig that's supposed to pick you up. I said, well, guess what? I know where they are. They're parked in the parking lot of Scoops and Sprinkles, an ice cream shop, eating ice cream while I'm worried sick about getting to my doctor's appointment at Connecticut Bone and Joint.
But you know,
Rachel took pictures.
You know, there's no way I ever thought that it was the fault of the EMTs or the drivers in the ambulance. It was a matter of communications from dispatch,
well,
and that turned out to be the case.
Well, I got to tell you, I went loop-de-loop off on the VA. I went loop-de-loop off on AMR dispatch, the supervisors, everybody. Now I'm up at the Bone and Joint Center, and this guy Brett, who's a supervisor for AMR, says to me, "Where are you right now?" I said, "It's the Bone and Joint Center, second floor." He said, "All right, have they started or finished your procedure yet?" I said, "I haven't started yet." He said, "By the time you come out, I'll have an ambulance there waiting for you." So they had an ambulance
Okay.
there, and they at least brought me home and got me upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was, they've been fucking with my VA agreement, my VA decision.
Well, let me just run this scenario by everyone about what's happened. Maybe some people have some ideas. In April of 2014, Ed had a decision from the Board of Veterans Appeals
Yep.
that he would receive medical benefits on a fee basis program.
Outside of the VA's control.
Right, and the judge, the administrative judge, actually wrote that his decision was based on the fact if ever there was a veteran that should not be treated by the VA because of his lack of trust, it's this veteran. And most fee basis programs eligibility are based on you're too far away from the hospital, the VA hospital, or you need services that they don't provide. But Ed and some other people, you're not the only one in the country, had fee basis under 38 United States Code Section 1703.
Subsection N.
Well, no, that's the new the new statute. But under the old statute, you had fee basis, and it was because of a lack of trust in the VA. And the VA did not appeal that decision, which they could have.
And the judge also found in his decision that I had never abused the system.
Absolutely.
I had never abused the system. Even now, when I say to my wife, I said, look, I'm just going to walk down to the ambulance, or I'm going to walk down to the car. Lois is sitting there begging me not to do it because it inflames my knee. And then I'll be up all night long crying in my sleep.
And so then what happened was in 2018, Congress passed the Mission Act, which amended 38 United States Code Section 1703 to say that now there's a Veterans Community Care Program. So a lot of people can get care outside the VA, which is a move in the right direction. However, there are enormous problems with this program. They contract out through providers, civilian providers, and a lot of civilian providers don't want to deal with the VA. And so there's not enough providers to go around the contract with the VA, so people are still having to wait. And they have basically put Ed in this group under the Veterans Care Community Program where he has to be dealing with the VA
on a
all
regular
the
basis.
Time. And the whole
And all of the issues that they cause for me emotionally. In other words, I'm the kind of guy, I can be a very nice person, but I can be a nasty motherfucker. I can get on the phone and tear somebody apart. I don't want to do it, but I can't stop myself from doing it when I know that they're speaking bullshit to me. You know, this woman, and then they tried to tell me that the ambulance run sheet, the call sheet or the program or whatever it is, I was scheduled to be picked up at 1:45, not 1. And so when I was talking to the supervisor, this guy Brett, whatever, I said to him, I said, last night when he called me, I said, I want to know one thing. Was I scheduled to be picked up at 1 or 1:45? He goes, we have confirmed you were to be picked up at 1 o'clock. And it wasn't, it was dispatch that screwed it up. Now, when
But the legal issue is we have a BVA decision from 2014 that says you're entitled to fee basis under Section 1703, but then Section 1703 was amended and took effect on June 6, 2019. So now it's the Veterans Community Care Program. So what's the status of that BVA decision? They're trying to say it doesn't count because the statute changed. But as you already said, there's a subsection N in Section 1703 that says if there are extenuating circumstances and a veteran cannot receive proper care, cannot receive continuity of care, if his providers are changed, then he stays in the same system And that's definitely what you fall under, but they're just ignoring that subsection, which obviously applies to you.
And that's exactly what they did in 2009 when they ignored the requirement that I be reevaluated and just let my card terminate. And they said, "Oh, it expired. You didn't get renewed."
You know what the VA seems to do when you read the decisions, because these judges at the Court of Veterans Appeals say this stuff all the time in their decisions, and you can watch them live stream the oral arguments at that court. It's almost like the VA, especially with older veterans, is just hoping they'll die.
And the case goes away.
And the case goes away. So even when they're clearly wrong, as they are in your case, they're saying to themselves, how much longer can this guy possibly live? And let's just keep dragging it out, and perhaps we'll never have to do the right thing.
Let me give kudos to my most loyal associate, person I deal with, other than obviously wives, sons, and daughters. Outside of my family, you're the closest thing to me of family.
Well, you know, but as an attorney, a private attorney, going up against the VA, where they have time on their side, where it takes forever to file an appeal, where it takes forever to get a hearing, I mean, they definitely have time on
To
their
wear you
side
down.
to not only wear you
But
down, but to delay things forever.
This is, and I speak to a girl at the VA. Her name is Jennifer Del Sol, and she's at extension 8840. And there's a guy in transportation named Patrick. And believe it or not, I believe these people are trying to help me.
I do too.
But there's people above them that are prohibiting them from doing the right thing. Now, and this is for you. Last night, when I got a call from Brett, the supervisor, and Jennifer Dosell found out how the afternoon went. Because I had talked to her in the morning. I had talked to her in the morning about, now what's going to happen this afternoon. And then, oh no, everything. Well, guess what, Jennifer? It didn't work. This is what the BVA was saying. I should not be dealing with the VA because of the way I react to this shit. Okay, now. And she says, well, I talked to Patrick over in transportation. Because I had said to travel, that's a unit within the VA, I said, look, if I can't get a goddamn ride from AMR, let me call Aetna. Let me call Campion. Let me call Hunters. Let me call some other ambulance company to take me to the hospital. I'm authorized transportation. Does it really matter who it is?
But
Let me finish.
Yeah.
So she says to me, she says, Ed, I told Patrick that we got to solve this, and we need to solve this now, because it was Ed's lawyer who took the photographs of the ambulance at Scoops and Sprinkles, because she had just left his condo where they didn't show up for their appointment. I said, and then he goes, Jennifer says, I told him, she's the lawyer that spearheaded this entire assault on the VA in behalf of Ed Peruta, and she's watching what's happening. We got to make this right.
Well, I've watched for the past 6 years how they don't abide by the BVA decision. It's completely frustrating.
They do not.
They don't. And you know, I think with the younger veterans now, and even in the past with the younger veterans, they're not necessarily waiting for them to die, because that could be a long time. But it's a war of attrition. You know,
they wait for them to shoot themselves in the VA parking lot.
Well, I hate to say that, but
That's true.
Well, but I think more so, more general applicability, is they just wait for them to go away. You know, if we tell them no enough, they're just going to go away and not keep asking, because it's too frustrating.
I have a very close friend, no names mentioned, who walked into the VA in 1972, and they told him get lost.
And most people do. They just
he was wasn't in the right frame of mind to be dealing with the VA, because he would have hurt people back in 72. And I met him in 2008, 2005, maybe 2004, whatever. And the person he was dating, now his wife, had said to me, Ed, can you please talk to him? Please. So I talked to him, and I convinced him that I would walk side by side with him through the entire process, okay? and assured him that he would win his case based on the facts that I had been made aware of.
And you know what? The VA knew that he would win his case too if he followed up on it, but they were just hoping he wouldn't.
So what they did was they awarded him 70% disability going all the way back to 2009. It was like an award of like $120,000 in back benefits. And had he been awarded 100%, it would have been a $240,000 settlement. But they awarded him 70. So now I said, you got to appeal it. That's wrong. You know, and so he appealed, and they gave him 100%, but they only went back to like 2017. Okay? And I said, no, that's not right. They got to go back to 2009. Well, because they went back to a date after his 65th birthday, that's very important to a 100% disabled veteran. If you're under 65 and you become 100% disabled, the VA gives you a free premium paid life insurance policy. And you could take 20-pay life, it accrues value, you can take loans against it, and after 20 years it's paid for, and then it builds up and earns interest. And you have the right to purchase an additional $10,000 at a very inexpensive rate because of your disability. So you can get a $30,000 policies through the VA if you're under age 65 when you get your award. So they don't want to put his award date prior to his 65th birthday because it permits them to not have to give him any insurance or pay the premiums on any insurance for him. Well, guess what? I talked to him. I said, you into this? He said, you know, I had no hope. I didn't believe in the beginning that it was possible. He said, I believe now. I believe.
Good.
And the VA has a lot of good people working for them.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people get tainted because of the surroundings that they work in and how the supervisors manage the business of providing medical care and benefits to veterans.
Okay. What do you want to follow up on that? You know, you brought up something about, was it Seattle or Portland? I think it's Portland where they're demonstrating, of course. Who could forget? But you found an article where some of the demonstrators are masquerading as news
As media. Right.
Can you talk more about that? What does that mean? So the police.
I thought I had printed it out, but if you Google it, you can find it.
Okay.
It's the media, the protesters have taken the position when they're confronted by law enforcement. We're media. We're media. Now, I have to tell you.
And what do they hope to gain by that?
Access. Video footage. Access. Closer you are, the more footage you get, and you get things that other people are not prevented from getting.
So there's greater right of access to the media?
No.
Yeah, I don't understand.
No,
See, that's what I'm not understanding.
But law enforcement
Kind of thinks
is
there is.
trying to have a federal judge define what is media.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Okay? That is a problem.
Yeah, and I thought of the irony of it, Ed. The protesters out there right now, because people video recorded what happened in the George Floyd case and a lot of other cases that, you know, built up to it. And that's what brought all this on. But by their actions, they're going to make it more difficult if there's a backlash against people masquerading as news media and defining media. There's going to be a backlash. Well, not as many people are going to be able to record.
I have a big opinion to this.
Okay.
Okay? I have never gotten in my car in the evening and gone out with the intent of confronting law enforcement over my status as media or not media. That's never in my mind when I approach a scene. I am the media. And when I start getting hassled and pushed around and threatened and locked up and whatever, thrown in a cruiser, that's when I start to react. But I usually wait and talk to the chief. If it's a weekend, I talk to the chief on a Monday morning. Because here's what I say. I don't give a fuck who you are or whether you have a camera or not. If you're going to act in a criminal manner while you're videotaping, get pinched. Take them away. But you got to be able to prove that they were acting inappropriately at the scene. Now, we showed a videotape recently of a Torrington police sergeant. It's up on the internet and a couple shows back. Of Sergeant Quarles walking in and confronting sergeant, whatever, walking in and confronting a white business owner and throwing him up against the wall. Okay, now no different than the media. To me, that was a thug impersonating a police officer. Okay, police officers don't act like this, so I ought to be able to kick your ass or shoot your ass if you threaten me. Okay, because you're acting like a police officer, but police officers don't do this. This is not good for the media, and it's
not good for the media.
Nope. And you know something? The mainstream media has kept their mouth shut for so long regarding the rights of media, because here's what's happening. Almost every single major incident in the world, okay, is being captured on private video devices. The explosion in Beirut, people were in their hotel rooms when the ship with ammonium nitrate exploded. 227 tons of ammonium nitrate exploded. Okay, that was captured on a private device. Everybody's got them now. Okay, somebody's going to have to live with it. Okay, and maybe they should give a class coming out of high school, about the camera is the most important tool of freedom fighters. Okay, that's ever existed.
Well, the new police accountability bill in Connecticut makes it mandatory for all law enforcement officers to wear body-worn cameras now. It didn't used to be that way.
But does it talk about when you turn them on and when you turn them off?
It always has, Ed. It always has. But you know what? You can make as many laws that you want, but are they going to be followed?
Okay, there's no teeth. There's no downside.
Well, they have a lot of provisions in here where, an officer can be, found that he's acting contrary to policy and be decertified and all this kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see if a lot of that happens.
The word you're looking for is how it evolves.
Right.
In other words, the policies on the street are going to evolve. This new statute is going to create an evolution on the streets between private citizens and law enforcement.
And a lot of it is just setting up more task force, which worries me because we keep setting them up. And
let me tell you how good this is. I'm going to tell everybody a JC story. JC Playford was going to a family reunion in St. Louis or in Missouri, and he was taking Delta from Jacksonville to Atlanta, from Atlanta to St. Louis. JC was sitting in towards the back of the plane, middle back of the plane. I guess he was taking an aisle seat because he's 6 foot something. He probably put his legs out because there's not enough room in the seats. I do that all the time. And when the plane was coming in for landing, everybody knows if you've flown, you can feel the plane hit the tarmac, the runway, and then they put on what's called the reverse engine, okay? And you go forward in your seat as the thing slows down, right? Well, down the aisle from the back near the toilets comes the aluminum service cart, on its own, whipping towards the front of the plane, and hits JC and another guy, okay? So as soon as JC gets off the plane in Atlanta yesterday morning, he calls me. He says, Ed, I just got hit by a what do you call it?
A cart?
A juice cart, a compliment cart, the liquor cart. Okay, the beer part, the soda, the thing that the waitress, the flight attendant pushes down the aisle. Okay, that big 200-pound metal box. Okay, so I said to him, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Well, man, he's a little sore." And I said, "JC, you got to go to an emergency room." And he says, "Well, I don't want to get separated from my luggage. I don't want to get stuck in Atlanta." He said, "I'll go as soon as I get into St. Louis. I'll go." I said, "Well, you got it." I said, "Because here's the way they talk about it. It's not what hurts today. It's what's going to hurt tomorrow. Then you're going to know how serious you've been hurt. Is when you wake up tomorrow and you can't get out of bed. Okay? Then you know you've been hurt."
He said he thought it got up to 30 miles an hour. Maybe it just seemed like that when it hit
Well,
him.
yeah, you know, and now, so I said to him, he's got obviously a sore knee, and I'm sympathetic to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I had said to JC, I said, "JC, walk up to the counter, or have Eileen, his girlfriend, walk up to the counter and say, look, my boyfriend got hit by one of those flying liquor carts on the plane coming in from Jacksonville. Is there any way you can put him into first class so he can stretch out his legs and be comfortable?" Okay? I mean, what's going on? So, I don't know if they gave him first class. I don't know whether he asked, but he went to a urgent care center in St. Louis, and then I went, "Yep, and Rachel's going to be sending you a retainer letter."
Well, we'll see. We'll see how serious it is, you know.
Well, you
And
got to
hopefully-
understand. He asked for a copy of the report. No, you got to call Delta. They had something called red coats. In other words, when there's an incident like that, all kinds of people in red coats come
Well,
out.
isn't it kind of soon to have a report? You know, I mean, people haven't even gotten off the plane, and you haven't even had an opportunity to talk to people involved.
I don't think he was asking to walk away with it.
Okay,
He
I
was
got it.
asking for a copy of the report. Well, you got to go through Delta to get that, you know. For example, the first thing I would want to walk away with, and this is why you got to get lawyers. I want to know the name of every person who was on that plane. Witnesses. I want to know them now. Witnesses.
Well, I mean, it's not like the airline doesn't know the name of everybody on the plane. Let's hope they do.
Homeland Security does.
Given what's going on now.
They know everybody on the plane.
So I want to talk about what I feel like is a really interesting part of this act.
Go ahead.
And it has to do with, I'm just going to read this first part. It says, no law enforcement official may ask an operator of a motor vehicle to conduct a search of a motor vehicle or the contents of the motor vehicle that is stopped by a law enforcement official solely for a motor vehicle violation. I got to tell you, that's a huge change in police business right there.
When you walk by the left rear taillight and you hit it with your gun and you break the headlight and you tell the driver that you're stopping him for having a taillight out, you don't have the right to search the car.
Right. There's an exception to that. And like everything, the exception is going to probably grow over the rule to make the rule almost non-existent. So let's read the exception. So any search by a law enforcement official of a motor vehicle or the contents of the motor vehicle that is stopped by a law enforcement official solely for a motor vehicle violation shall be based on probable cause or after having received the unsolicited consent to such search from the operator of the motor vehicle in written form or recorded by body-worn recording equipment or a dashboard camera, each as defined in section 29-60 of the general statutes. So you cannot do a search solely based on a motor vehicle stop unless the search is based on probable cause, which I guess develops after the stop.
Independently,
right?
Not initiated by the police officer.
Right.
Look, you walk up to a car in a motor vehicle stop and you smell marijuana, I think you got a right to search the car. I do. Okay? That's not a motor vehicle violation. That's a criminal infraction, whatever violation.
Well, you stop
Okay?
the car for one thing, and then probable cause is developed after the stop. That's
Right.
what you're saying.
Right.
Something's in plain view.
And I believe that I'm not gonna stand here and tie the hands of law enforcement.
Well, I mean, this, I'm sure a lot of officers will say this does tie their hands to a certain
Yeah,
extent.
no, it does. And you know something? They, the law enforcement officers today, who've been officers for a while under the old rules, can thank the rogue officers of yesterday for that decision.
Yep, it's like when you're in school and one kid does something bad and the whole class suffers. I mean, that's exactly what's going on here.
You never opened your mouth to prevent it from happening. You never turned in the person who was doing the rogue shit. And now you're going to get jammed up because of it.
But on the other hand, Ed, isn't the purpose of enforcement of laws, criminal laws, to protect all of us? So if we're tying the hands of police officers' ability to enforce criminal laws as a backlash against what's been done in the past, aren't we getting hurt? And
Yes.
I really don't believe that. I'm just making that argument. I don't believe that because I think a lot of what goes on doesn't actually protect us. It's just harassment.
Listen,
And that's not
You know,
protecting us.
you know, I do this format, YouTube, public access, or whatever, because I believe that one or two people discussing factual situations, bringing things to light that otherwise wouldn't be brought to light, or bringing another opinion to the table, okay? I didn't get to go to the hearing on this bill, okay? But I have a way of letting my opinion be known every time it's played on YouTube or public access. Every time it's played, and the people that watch it may agree or disagree with what you and I are talking about, but it's probably going to open some people's eyes. And that's all I'm trying to do, is open people's eyes, one set of eyes at a time. I'm trying to open people's ears, 2 ears at a time. And if you got a hearing problem, it's 4 ears at a time.
I mean, we have a law against assault in this state. And we have a video of a police officer assaulting a civilian for no reason. And that police officer has not been arrested. So if we have laws already that prevent criminal acts like that, and the officer isn't arrested, what's going to be the consequence of violating these new acts? We already have things that are being violated, and we do nothing about it. So it'll be interesting to see. But let me read the second part of this.
Well, while you're doing that, let me just hit this one, because I want this one topic because it's that time.
Okay.
Okay. We're talking about cameras. We're talking about the value of cameras. We're talking about the effect that the video or still photographs have on society, okay? Because of this, in the hands of the public, okay, a video camera, right? CNN, Georgia student who posted photo of a crowded school hallway and called it good and necessary trouble, wait a minute, is no longer suspended, her mom says. And they have a picture that he took. In other words, whatever town in Georgia, there's the picture right there. Whatever town in Georgia decided to open their school system without requirements for masks, without minimum down the class size and separate the people 6 feet apart, okay? This student saw a problem, and this student took a photograph. And I guess another female student may have seen the photograph and published it up on whatever, okay? And the school called her in and suspended her, because in the rule book it says if you take a photograph or a video and post it to a public forum and it has a negative impact on the school system, you can be suspended.
Oh, but if it's positive, it's okay?
Oh, it's always okay.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
And I'll go back to when my son Michael.
I would argue this is going to have a positive effect on the school system
listen.
because maybe they'll implement
Students ought
life-saving
to start
measures.
wearing body cams. Then there's another one where a father hid cameras in. He had a little black girl, and she had those curly curls, like it looks like two buns on her head. The father hid video cameras in the buns and sent her to school and caught the inappropriate behavior of the teacher. Okay, and it was again a civilian camera that found it, but he was videotaping in the school. I go back. Jesus, 1990.
Boy, that little girl must have been a cool cucumber
yeah.
I mean, most people would be very nervous doing that. And how were they? Yeah, well, I won't ask questions.
Listen, 1991, I had just gotten into public access in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, and I decided to go up, and I was investigating issues in the school. My son, Michael, was a student, and I went to the back of the school. They were having May Day ceremonies. And I went in the back and I had a video camera, and I had the principal and the superintendent come up to me and say, "You can't videotape on school property, privacy rights." I said, who are you talking to? Me? You talking to me? You got to be crazy. I said, look at all of the parents that are videotaping when they have a recital or one of those class plays. All of the parents are videotaping everything. But because I'm here, and I have a different purpose of videotaping, you don't want me here. I won that battle. Well, it's like you're saying, everybody else has got cameras in school, but you're not supposed to use them for the good of the society.
Okay, so the second part of this whole issue of consent. The consent of a person given to a law enforcement official to conduct a search of such person shall not, absent the existence of probable cause, constitute justification for such law enforcement official to conduct such search. So if I say to a police officer, "Search me, please," that is the law enforcement officer cannot search me unless he has probable cause. Is somebody begging you to search them probable cause for something? But I like this law because I can't tell you how many times, and we're gonna
get the end ready.
Yep.
Get the end ready.
Yep.
My knee tells me it's
he
time.
He almost made it. I just can't tell you how many times I've run into that.
Listen, I apologize to the people on the other side of the camera.
You have to apologize.
I'm getting my knee replaced. I know that's going to be a bad weekend. Next weekend's going to be a bad.
Or it could be really good.
Well, they told me that they're gonna give me a spinal. They're gonna use anesthetic or whatever in my knee. They're gonna put me the Michael Jackson drug, the propofol, is what they're gonna put me to sleep with. And when I wake up, they're gonna leave the spinal tap in, which is going to prevent the pain. I won't feel anything from the waist down.
Oh, okay.
And I probably have one of them Foley tubes up. You know, I'll be peeing in a Foley tube.
I would think you'd know how to put those in yourself.
I ain't doing that shit. That ain't happening.
We're going to close with that on a high note. We'll probably see you in a couple weeks.
Listen, you know how to find us on YouTube, on Facebook. You can find us. Why don't you start looking in your neighborhood for some of the stuff going around? And if you think it has an interest wider than your community, let us know.
Everybody have a great week.
Nice hair.